All right, so we move past a big time frame, in my opinion, dying in the summer. I mean, dying in winter, rising on the first day of spring, or the first full day of spring. I don't know. But the 18th and 19th were gigantic. I just removed that playlist because we just passed it. I do not have a playlist for the the anything going on the 20th and then rising on 322 Skull and Bones. I mean, my current playlist, September 30th, September 15th, October 15th, April 21st, July 1st, May 9th, August 17th, April 6th, rise on solar eclipse, August 17th. A lot of these are 2 days before a full moon. Midsummer event, which is August 6th, which is 86. There's March 23rd, death, rise on the lunar eclipse, which is big. That's what IPEC GOAT gives us, is that lunar eclipse. And but I don't know why I put 322 event here because you can't have it both ways. So is it 322 or 323 that it's actually going to happen? In the movie The Dark Knight Rises, so this is about his rising. It said 322 just below the box, which is Skull and Bones' number. It's based off of Genesis 322, but that could be a loose base. It could really be based off of, because that's the day the book of Revelation is going to be opened. Off of Genesis 322. So if we go to Dark Knight Rises football game, Bain Stadium speech. So there we are. So guys running and the explosion takes place, and there's the 322 right there. Whatever you see in here, it's never what, there it is. So you see the 322? Well, this is while number 86 is running on the field. Get it? 86. And there's your blast at 322. And there's number 86, as if he's being 86th. So the Dark Knight Rises shows you rising 322. They gave you the Skull and Bones number as the movie's called Rising, and there's your 86, which means to eliminate. That's your deadly wound statement. So is it the day after 322 that it's literally going to be on 323? And then he would rise on the third day, lunar eclipse. Check. Well, what about going down today on Wednesday? Wednesday's married to Frigg. In Norse mythology, what these days are named after, there's only one female. It's all about the male-female union that births the Antichrist. The whore of Babylon, the shape-shifted male Satan to the goddess. Lucifer's Venus. Venus is female. To them, Lucifer is the goddess. She's Mother Nature. Isn't any wonder Satan himself can transform into an angel of light? Lucifer is light. He is transformed. He has shape-shifted because the Bible is clear that he's a male. The nouns, Lucifer, Satan, all that, male. So this is a very interesting situation we find ourselves in. That 322 of this clip is at the 13:3 mark. It's at 1 minute, 33 seconds. Well, that's Revelation 13:3. Who made the clip? 4K HDR Media did. So the AI made sure that you've got 13:3 at 322. 13:3 of Revelation, 13:3 is deadly wound, but did live. Or deadly wound by the sword, but did live. So it's your death and rising. Well, which one is it? Which one's 322 going to be? The rising or the day he goes down? Or the eve of? Does he go down on 323 and rise on the third day? Because the Dark Knight Rises came out 2 days after the Dark Knight. I'm telling you, we're in a very, very fragile time. Because I've been contending that that's a lunar eclipse because of the way it's orange and the way that it's being eclipsed. You could say, well, that's a crescent moon. And you're not lying. It's got the shape of a crescent moon, but it's orange in the sky, which is kind of a symbol for an eclipse. Now, there are blood moons, but that's a whole different. Let's Google it. Does the moon turn orange during eclipses?
According to NASA science, colors with shorter wavelengths, the blues and violets, scatter more easily than colors with longer wavelengths, like red and orange, because these longer wavelengths make it through Earth's atmosphere, and the shorter wavelengths have scattered away. The moon appears orangish or reddish during a lunar eclipse.
Okay. It didn't say total lunar eclipse, did it? Why is the moon orange during an eclipse? Why does the moon become orange? The atmosphere is filtering short wavelengths, blah, blah, blah. You can't, by the way, you can't believe anything they're telling you. I'm just trying to differentiate total lunar eclipse, Mars in our sky. How much dust particles are in the atmosphere, how gold, orange, and red, or the red on the moon appears during a total lunar eclipse. That says specifically orange total. Does the moon turn orange during a partial lunar eclipse?
According to NASA science, because these longer wavelengths make it through Earth's atmosphere, and the shorter wavelengths have scattered away, the moon appears orangish or reddish during a lunar eclipse.
I got partial up there and nothing is, the moon is not totally black due to partial illumination by sun rays. Hence the reddish moon during a lunar eclipse. Well, what causes a total lunar eclipse to look red? That speaks to total. During a lunar eclipse, what color does the moon? When is the next blood moon? 2023. So the orange could just be a code for eclipse. But the fact that it's not completely covered could be code for partial. Do y'all see how I'm trying to bend all that? If that's our partial lunar eclipse being partially eclipsed, then we're right on it. We're right on the time frame. Now you got another partial delivered by the October 2nd Ring of Fire solar. Solar eclipses are always new moons that deliver, of course, full moons. They don't always deliver eclipses, and I just made a mistake. The other partial lunar eclipse is 14 days before the Ring of Fire solar. So let's start over. Solar eclipses are always a new moon, but they don't always give you, they always give you full moons, but the lunar eclipse will usually appear 14 days before or after the solar eclipse. Both of these lunar eclipses are coming 14 days this year. They're coming 14 days before the solar eclipses. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, because I love to make mistakes, if I'm not mistaken, last year, the lunar came after. In 2023, you had an annular solar eclipse on the 14th, and the lunar was on the 28th. So the partial lunar came 14 days after. So I was right for the first time this year. Now, May 25th, that was a penumbral lunar, but the partial lunar of October 28th, don't forget, October 28th, transfer portals over to March 25th on our transfer portal of time, which is January 10th, 2022. Janus Tenet. The movie Tenet, it's 10 going backwards and forwards. The guy Janus, he's backwards and forwards, and we started running dates back and forth on that date. And they connected to the same things, and that's where we started learning about the transfer portal of time. The national championship game was played on that date, and that's when the transfer portal commercials for Dr. Pepper were also playing. And that month of January 2022 was the exact overlay, day by day, of the October 1988 Donnie Darko month. And that's when they started talking about portals, was on October 10th, which transferred over to that January 10th because the month was the same overlay, day for day, date for date. You just change the name of the month. So that's when we were able to discover it. For instance, we went backwards 465 days. Trump said he had the illness. That was called the title of a beer. Move forward 465 days, you landed on a total solar eclipse, which the outer ring of a total solar eclipse is the name of that beer. Well, it's safe for me to say the outer ring of a total solar eclipse is called a corona. Trump said he had the illness 465 days before. the transfer portal of time of Janice Tennant, January 10th, 2022. 460 days afterwards was that total solar. 37 days before the transfer portal or backwards through the portal landed on a total solar eclipse. 37 days forward through the portal landed on the snow full moon. And that's when we started getting onto something. We started realizing that it's progressions of 37 through the portal. Let's do that now. Let's go through the portal. Let's go to January 10th. Let's just go to today. 1165. Let's see if there's a 37 progression in there anywhere. How close are we to a 37 progression? We are nowhere near close to one right now. The next 37 progression is going to be 32. 1184. Let's go. April 8th, the total solar eclipse. Oh, yikes. Are you kidding me? Backwards through the portal. October 14th, 2017. Oh. There was no eclipse activity on October 14th, but we just had a solar eclipse this past year on October 14th. So is that the games we're playing? October 14th, 2017. And we just had an eclipse on October 14th. And we're just talking about how, work with me here, this October 14th Ring of Fire eclipse of 2023, 14 days later, was the partial lunar. And 14 days after this partial lunar is the X across America total solar. We are certainly in a very interesting time frame. October 14th, 2017. How old was Trump that day? 26055, 71 years, 4 days. Not getting a lot of help there. Anyway. This new moon appeared at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. 500. 500 is Antichrist. Strong's Concordance. G500, Greek, G for Greek. And then the lunar eclipse on Monday, 3 a.m. 300, 500 to 300. It's Monday to Monday. It's 14 days. coming up on 322. After 322, you get the explosion, which could be the 23rd, where he takes the hit. Because who's running around out there? 86. This is 138 of the clip, which is Donald Trump in Simple Gematria. My best guess would be he is going down on 323. And just like The Dark Knight Rises came out 2 days after The Dark Knight, he will rise on the third day. What iPad Goat shows you, him rising up through rising up through a full moon. Now it's iced over there. The abyss is ice because it's at the North Pole. Santa, Satan, Satan, Santa, Disney's Frozen. All the villains of the Antichrist Batman are characteristics of God or his sheep. The Riddler, Jesus spoke in parables, riddle and parable are in the exact same verse in the Old Testament because the parable is a riddle. It's cryptic. Jesus spoke in parables to confuse the goats. Jesus, why do you speak to them in parables? He said, because it is for you to know the mysteries of the kingdom. It's not meant for them to know the mysteries of the kingdom. How's my volume? Did it drop? Because I'm pretty sure I'd set good volume. Now it's at good volume. That AI messing with us, isn't it? So this has to really. Oh, and Ghostbusters is coming out with Frozen. Madonna had her Frozen song. Santa, Satan, Satan, Santa, the abyss is frozen over. Right eye wound. Full moon. Partial lunar. When you remember James Bond, I've already lost it. I thought I had it saved. I thought it was in the prep. Prep's already deleting my emails. Donnie Darko's got 2 moons up there, though. Is that the 2 lunar eclipses? Or is one the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse? Is this Donnie getting darkened after this solar eclipse before he rises as Antichrist at the Ring of Fire October 2nd solar eclipse? I would think these are lunar eclipses, the way it's in a dark movie theater, which we have 2. They both are 14 days before the solar eclipses. So I think The Evil Dead, Last Temptation of Christ is what's on the Donnie Darko movie marquee. Autumn Angel. Thank you, Sharita Chin, with Autumn Angel. We have to remember that lunar eclipse is right before autumn, and the October 2nd solar eclipse is at the beginning of autumn, just about 10 days afterwards. And she is Chinese. And they made fun of her and called her China. There again is the and Donnie Darko, just like Get Out and Bond's Skyfall. You have the fire. You have the stag, the rebirth, the horns. Fry 6-7. We do know that this coming June 7th is a Friday, and it's something we have to definitely keep our right eye on. Donnie Darko card tag 489-2. Event 201, when you multiply 201 times 2024, you do get April 6th, 2 days before the total solar. Madonna's 4 Minutes to Save the World song. 4 minutes in Gematria. 810 in Jewish, which is a date. From date to date, when you run all these dates, because there's dates all over 4 minutes. 4 minutes comes to November 10th, August 1st, July 7th. Which makes you think, and also the number 810 in Jewish gematria, so which is August 10th. So you start running all these days, they're like 101 days apart, 25 days apart, 126 days apart, which means is that the amount of time between the right eye wound and the abomination of desolation / great tribulation. Because it's at the abomination of desolation, the great tribulation starts, which I think would be October 2nd. Because that's when the Police released Ghost in the Machine album. 4 minutes also comes to Roller Coaster, Love Roller Coaster song, which I did hit that. Love Roller Coaster came out 11/9. Of course it did, 1975. If you run it to 322, which is just a few days from now, it's 17,666 days. 76 is in that number, fused with a 666. Remember, Adam is 7/6 in New Testament Strong's Concordance, and that's what the movie Black Adam was about. He is the Black Adam, where Christ is the representative of, or like Adam, both created by God, not sperm to egg. And that's not talking about color, Black Adam versus White Adam. That's talking about good, evil. Love Roller Coaster. It's a very interesting dates and times, isn't it? Because Roller Coaster comes to it. Had a woman screaming. They made up the Ohio Players Roller Coaster. It's called Love Roller Coaster, my bad. Ohio Players Love Roller Coaster, woman screaming. And it's notorious. The owner of that muffled scream is, in fact, Ohio Players keyboardist Billy Beck, not a woman, simply adding a bit more flavor. See, that was like it says the truth behind Love Roller Coaster Scream. That was a big deal back when I was in middle school. The most common version of the legend was that the scream was from Esther Corbett, a model who appeared on the cover of the album, reportedly stabbed. Remember, stabbing, the sword, Antichrist, right eye. Urban legend. There it is right there. Subject to persistent urban legend. As it's released, the primal scream is heard in the background fairly early in the song, between 124 and 128, or between 232 and 236 on the album version. "4 Minutes" also comes to Ruby Tuesday, a Rolling Stone song. There's the Donnie Darko timeline. Donnie receives philosophy of time travel, written by Grandma Death, and that's when I start talking about portals, like I told you about on the 10th, Monday the 10th. Monday the 10th of 2022 was the national championship game. Dr. Pepper transfer portal commercial in full swing. So we're in a very interesting time right now. Very interesting time. Oh, sorry about the volume. I could have swore I checked it. I did do a Bible study earlier, but I thought I checked it when I cranked this up too. All right, love you.